Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. I've got my tray out, so you know it's going to be a messy one. I thought that we would do, this is watercolour paper. I've got a spritz bottle just full of water and I've got some colours, and I thought that we would make some fun backgrounds. Now I've made a few. I've done this one, and if you look you can see all of the sort of veiny type patterns and things on. We're going to do a card without them. This one again, you've got some lovely sort of veins and things coming through, bit of sparkle and shimmer in that one. Another one, they all come out very different, and this is one that I did with greens and yellows. So watercolor paper, and interesting, you know I said I don't throw anything away. These were my mop-ups. And I thought that I might be able to do something with those. I thought that they were rather fun. That's literally just what I used for mopping up. And it's got all sorts of colours in, so I thought I might do something with that at a later stage. However, this is what we're doing. I've got a square. I might do two. So I've got a square which is 5.5 by 5.5, and then I've got a standard piece of card front. And these will take a little while to dry, so hence me doing the other ones. But first thing we need to do is, let me sit down so I can do this. We're going to spray our watercolour paper. Now, if it starts buckling up a bit, if you turn it over onto the other side and spray, it will then start to lie flat. You can see I've still got a bit of colour in from earlier on. Okay, so quite a bit of water, and then I'm using any form of sort of bright pigment ink. These are actually old, I don't know what they were called, sparkle pens I think, but they have really good ink. So any sort of thing with some ink in, and as you just drop it on, you can see it just sort of starbursts out. I've got more water on one side than the other, but that's fine. I'm just putting some of the red in on here, and where it doesn't sort of splat, it doesn't matter, because we're going to be using our spray bottle, so we can just give a little bit of spray as we go. Now I'm going to use some yellow. So the yellow, again, I'm just using, and I think some of these, I haven't got a huge amount on here, but I've got a bit. So again, I'm just putting some of these in on here, just sort of dotted about. And again, just spraying. And then I'm going to have a little bit of green this time, because I quite like green. So I'm going to make sure that I put it near the, oh, that's going to be a big blob. I can just see it. I want to put it by the yellow rather than by the red, because the red will make it a bit muddy. I don't really want it to be muddy, so I'm just trying to put it in on here. Maybe a little bit on there and some on the corner. And it's a matter of just sort of doubling the colour about where you sort of think you want it, and then you can just take your spray bottle and move it about a bit. See how it's sort of moving about. This is why I need the cloth after a while. Okay, so now I'm going to get some brushos, and I'm going to use the yellow because I know that that will work. So I'm just, see how it diffracts it as you put it on here. Now I'm going to get a little bit of mud with the red, I think, but the red and yellow will form an orange, so hopefully it won't be too muddy in there. But can you see how it's just sort of bringing it into beautiful sort of colours and patterns? And I think that's probably about it. So I've got, this is another one that I've got that and all I do is just put it up to just wick it. So all it does is it just brings up some of that water, because you don't want a huge amount on there. And then good old-fashioned cling film. Sort of screw it up a bit, open it up, and then you're going to put it in on the center and move. Can you see how I'm moving the sides in? So you want, you don't want overly thick cling film, but you want something that you can move all of these edges in. And this is not a new technique, it's been around forever and a day, but it's something that works really well to give really pretty backgrounds. And you can see in here, as I'm just moving it, you can see how all the colours are starting to sort of move through. And what you need to do is, you can see how it's sticking up a bit. You need to try and flatten it as much as you can, because you don't want, where these little bits are like air bubbles are, you'll find that they will just dry and they won't give that lovely sort of effect. So if I, hopefully, yes, you can see that. It looks really, really good, doesn't it? So I'm just going to put this one to one side, and we will probably come back to that one on a later day. So that's down to dry off. And then we've got this one. And I don't know what colours we'll do with this, but we'll just have a little go. Turn this over. I think I want to do it on that side. I've got more water in there. I have to keep filling my bottle up. So this one, shall we have blues? This is quite a bright blue. Let's just see how that goes. Oh yes, quite like that. Can you see how when you just drop it on there, it just gives these lovely little starburst pieces, but only where the water is. So where it isn't, it doesn't pool as much. I quite like that blue. Okay, so what would we have with blue? Probably blue and yellow, maybe. Blue and red will give me purple, won't it? That might be quite fun. Let's try that with some red. Oops, unscrew it. But as I say, you can use re-inkers, you can use whatever you want, says me. This one doesn't want to come off, and it's going to come off, and there's going to be loads of ink in there, isn't there? No, we'll try another one. Oh, this is a bright sort of pink, isn't it? Let's see what that one does. Because hopefully this might give me a bit of purple in on there. Like that. And we can just give another little spray like that. Then if we use some blue, oh look at that, brusho. Love the way it comes across. And some red brusho. And where it mixes together, we're going to have purple, aren't we? And I think sometimes it's that, what do they say, less is more. To just do it round there. So I think that's probably about enough. I need to cut myself another piece of cling film. My scissors are outside. I've just been doing some stuff in the garden. It's one of those days where it's sunny one minute and then it's raining the next. So you have to dash out and do what you need to do in the garden while it's sunny, and then it pours with rain and you can come in and craft. So it's still lovely and warm. But okay, so I'm just going to put this in flat on here. Oh yes, it's going to come beautiful purples. and then just bring all of these pieces in from the side. I love the way as you bring the cling film in, you get beautiful different colours coming through. And I think it's one of those, when I say less is more, it really is, because I think some of the earlier ones that I've done, I've put almost too much colour in. Can you see how the bubbles are coming up? I need to just squash it down. I just need to bring that across. I think that's probably about right. So I'm just flattening that down. And again, you can see you've got lovely sort of reds and blues, and then you've got the purple coming through. So again, I'm going to just take it off of there, hold it up so you can see how the colour is coming. It might be a bit dark, but we'll see. And that's just going to go over there and dry as well. So on another video, I will show you how it's all come out. But at the moment, I can move that tray away. And I've got this towel as well, which I haven't had too much mopping up. But, you know, let's have a look and see what we've got on there. You can see on there how lovely. You get all of these different colours. And to be quite honest, I think that will actually work beautifully on something. Not quite sure what, but I'm sure I will find something. So I'm just going to put those to one side. I might end up tossing them, but I'm very much let's see what we can do with it. So I'm now going to take a stamping platform, and oh, in fact, I've got something in there from the other day. It's a bit naughty, isn't it? Shouldn't have left that in there. I was going to clean it up. You will see this one being used at a later date, but for the moment I am going to just take my magnet out, and I'm using a stamping platform because it helps me get a really nice dark image, because I'm going to use, which one shall we use? I could use the pale green one. I could run one of these are quite dark, but I think they will work quite well. Let me see. That's going to be quite dark. Shall we try that one? A really dark one. I really like the bits on there. Now I've got to work out which way round to have it. I do actually quite like that. So we've then got the dark bits up in the sky. So I'm going to put this on here because it's a little bit warped. That's why I want to do it. And I'm using my Lavinia stamps today. And I think I'm going to have, I want to have the bunnies, because I think bunnies are quite sweet. And I thought that they would work on the sort of the greenery in here. So I think I'm going to have the bunnies just about there. It says me looking at this. Do they? Yes, because that's going to be the sky part, isn't it? I think, yes. So I'm going to put these little bunnies just about there, off to one side. And then I'm just going to pick it up with my lid, because we want to be able to ink it up a good few times. So I'm just going to take my, put this down flat so I can ink it up. Okay, that's inked reasonably well. But again, because we're doing it on watercolour and because there's been quite a lot of water on there, I don't want it to just come out quite faint when I can use a positioning tool and then be able to do it a good few times. So you always need to rub it quite well, and you can then see how well it's come up. Oh, it hasn't come up very well at all, actually, because there's a lot of stuff on there. So I'm going to need to do it a good few times. And that's why I wanted to use I'm just going to move this out of the way so I can ink it up quite well. I should be able to ink it up this way, but I've stuck the lid in on the top which means that I've got to do it this way up, which for me is a little bit, it's going to be off camera now, but all I'm doing is inking up. So I can then put it down a good few times. And because I'm using watercolour paper, and it's quite bumpy, old style watercolour paper, it means that we're going to have to ink it a good few times to actually get a good image on it, which is fine, because that's why using a positioning tool, you can do that quite well. So I'm going to stand up a bit this time and see if I can just give it a little bit more of a press. And it's only because, as I say, the watercolour paper has got all of these colours and things on. It's starting to come darker, but I want to keep going until we have a really nice dark image. And then I can just press it down. Just leave it to soak into the paper a little bit. It's almost like skies that we've had at the moment with all the thunder and lightning and things, and some quite exciting storms actually. I like thunder and lightning. I think they're it's nice to watch, particularly if you're inside and you're nice and warm and dry. It's nice to watch out of the window. But so this sky is going to be quite a thunder and lightning sky. Okay, we're nearly there. I think maybe one more. So you can see why a positioning tool is vital for this sort of stuff, because, and I've just re-inked my VersaFine as well, so it just shows that you do need, I don't know how many times I've done it, 5-6 times, that you do need a little bit of extra on there. But as I say, it's I've always liked little bunnies and things and nature. It's nice. I don't get bunnies in my garden actually. I back onto a 3,000 acre deer park, which is rather lovely. So I get all sorts of things in my garden, foxes more than anything, the occasional badger, but I don't tend to get bunnies. They tend to not be able to get into the garden. Okay, so that is beautiful on there. And do I need to put something else up here in the sky, or don't know yet. Let's just take this one out, because we know that that's how we're, I need to put a piece of paper or something underneath there, don't I, just so it doesn't put all of my positioning tool. I'm going to move that out of the way for now so we can just have a look. So that's given us a rather nice sort of background on there, but I want to do a little bit more, I think. So I've got, what have I got? I've got some sort of green foliage on here, which I think might work quite nicely, just coming down on the side. So I think I'm going to have some of this just sort of trailing down the side like that. I don't want to have too much on here, because I want to keep it fairly clean and simple, because I'm very much, as you know, I'm somebody who tends to overdo things. So I'm trying to work on not adding too much to everything, and then it makes it look overly overworked, and then you lose everything that you were trying to get on there. However, I want to put these on with, I don't want to have them with black, I don't think. I want to have them with a colour, but it's going to have to be a very dark colour. So I think I'm going to use, I've got to use a dark ink, I think, down on here. So I'm just going to have a look and see what dark inks I've got. Trying to see which dark greens I've got. Those are a few dark greens, and I think I don't want it to be This will almost be black, and I don't want it to be almost black. I think that one might be the better. We'll see. Let's just have a little look and see. Don't know quite how, doesn't look, this might have dried out, this one actually. Let me just try that on just a little piece here and see. Yeah, that's not juicy enough. So that's not going to work. We need to have something that's, so that one needs to be re-inked. Let's have a look at this one. That should be better, I think. Yes. You can see straight away it's doing the colours on there. Okay, so I'm going to try and just put a little bit like that. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Different lengths. Oh yes, I like that. Very nice. That's just sort of come down. That's pretty. Pretty. So I'm going to carry on using that colour because I just want to have them grounded just a little bit more. So I need to I'm going to take this piece that I've just put in on here, and I just need to take it across like that, and I just want to give it a bit of a that's probably going to be enough. I just want to take it down on here and just add a little bit of colour in on here. Let's take this one. And this is the fun thing about doing these sorts of backgrounds. You have no idea how, well, you've got a rough idea colour-wise what they're going to turn out like, but no real idea. And it does make it really rather fun to just do a little bit of colour and match things in and just see how it goes. I'm just doing a little line on here because I don't think I want to have it overly. It's going to work that way. Then we're going to have it this way, I think, because I don't want the little bunnies to be overly covered in ink. So let's just do giving them a little bit. I think it has a little bit. I don't want to over egg it really, but I think I want it a little bit darker than that. It's not looking very. Let's just take it down on here. Just want it on this, can come up in that line. So let's take that off. That's better. Now we've just got the little bit so that it looks as if he's quite happily just sort of sitting there, which I think is rather fun. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a sentiment on here. No idea what I'm going to put, but I think I'm going to put something which is just a little bit fun. You'll see it on the front. I'm not going to add all of those bits now because I think that works just like that. But if I bring it up, you can just see all of that sort of lovely fun background on there. And as I say, I will finish it off with probably a little bit of like white Posca to give a little bit of highlight on there, a little bit of highlight down on there, and then just pop it onto a mat, or I might just put it onto a card blank and then just colour around the sides on there. I think that's probably where I'm going to take it. Let's have a little look and see. Right, I need to take a card blank first of all. So let's have a look at the card blank. I was going to just do it on the front, but I thought, I know quite a lot of you like to watch through and see the whole process. So one card blank, which I'm just going to fold in half on the score line like that. Then that is going to go on there like that, which is going to look beautiful. And then I want to just add some white gel pen. So let me get my gel pen in here. It really looks lovely. It looks as if the sun's sort of coming up the top of here. I think that's really rather beautiful. So we've got white gel pen in here, and we just need to just put a little tiny bit of gel pen in, just as a little bit of light in here. So I think I might just do just a little bit in on some of these little pieces on here, because by doing that it just gives that little bit of light coming through. So I just do it on the top part, which just gives the illusion of a little bit of light coming through. You don't need a lot, you just need just a little bit to come through that just adds the light. And then I can just put a little bit I'm just going to do that on there as just a little bit of light, and then just a little bit of light down on here. Just rub it in so it's not quite so harsh. But that just adds just a little bit. We can have a little bit just on his back. Just a little bit up there, which just adds, as I say, just a little bit of light on there. And I might even just take a little bit on these hills, because that, and if you do it and then just take your finger, it works quite nicely in there. So you've then got just a little bit of light in on the top. And then we can have just a little bit on the top of here. Like that. So that gives you just your little bit of light coming through on there. And then, as I say, I'm going to do a sentiment. I'm going to fiddle around with it for a bit longer, but I think the video is about as long as it's going to come. I don't want to keep carrying on, but you'll see it on the front cover. So have a look for the little finishing touches that I put on it. Hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.